Hi, I'm Tonya DeCosimo from Power Talk TV, and I am in West Hollywood today with my exclusive interview with Robin McGraw. Robin is an author, entrepreneur, philanthropist, podcast host, beautiful wife of Dr. Phil, mother and grandmother. I am so honored to be here today with Robin. How are you?
Oh, I'm just great. Do you know how much I love it when you add grandmother?
She looks good for a grandmother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
I am
you
so proud to be here.
Thank you so much.
You're
Such
so
a
welcome.
pleasure. So let's start with your new podcast, I've Got a Secret.
Okay.
How did you come up with this concept?
Well, you know, it was actually Philip's idea that I do a podcast. He's been doing a podcast for now a year, I would say, and he loves it. He says it's a completely different format than doing his talk show, and I've seen how much he's enjoyed it and loved it. And so he suggested it one day, and I was like, okay, I think I do want to do a podcast. And so he said, just come up with a name and decide what you want to talk about, what kind of topics or whatever. And I said, okay, I'll give it some thought. And so I did, talked to my staff here, and we got really excited. And so I was at home one evening, we were having dinner, and he was looking down, and I said, Philip, I came up with a name for the podcast. And he said, what is it? And I went, no, you have to be looking at me when I tell you. And he goes, okay. And I went, I've got a secret. And he goes, oh, that's great. I said, yes, it's like secrets, but we're going to tell secrets. And that was really what I wanted to do. It's like, I've got a secret, because I feel like women across the board, we all have secrets that we know, that we've learned from our grandmothers, our mothers, that we've learned throughout life, that we can share to other women and men, of course, to everyone, that will possibly change their lives or better their lives or allow them to have more fun in their life. And when I say secrets, it's like we don't even know they're a secret. It's just things we've learned throughout our life that we can share. And someone might think, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. So that's what this is about. It's like sharing the secrets we've learned from our families, from our friends throughout our lives that really have helped us, and we can now have a place to come and share them with others. And that's the number one reason I'm doing it. And also the bottom line is it's all about having fun, sharing secrets and having fun when we get together.
So who's been your favorite guest so far?
Oh, gosh, I've never been asked that. Favorite guest. I'm running them in my mind, and honestly, I can't even say a favorite guest, because everyone has been so different, yet so fun. And I'm not just saying this. I can't pick a favorite.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I wish I could, because every one of them have been phenomenal. I've had men and women, mostly women, but some of the men I've had have been just, they're genius, and they've been really cute and funny with their stories, but very important. So I can't pick a favorite.
That's okay. That's a good answer. Now, you're a best-selling author. That must be an incredible feeling.
It is very much an incredible feeling, yes.
Out of your many books, which one is your favorite and why?
Gosh, I don't even have to stop and think for very long. The first one has always been my favorite. And really because it's more of a written journal of my life and who I am and how I have become who I am. So it's really just my story.
Okay. And you have a great story.
Thank you, thank you.
When Georgia Smiled, the Robin McGraw Revelation Foundation. Can you tell us about that? I know you're helping victims of domestic violence.
Yes.
Why did you choose this type of foundation to start?
You know, a lot of people, I did name it after my mother, Georgia. And I named it When Georgia Smiled because my mother, to me, was an angel on earth. She was a strong woman. I always say and believe, truly believe, I am the woman I am today because of my mother. I am the wife, the mother, grandmother, friend, because of my mother. And I grew up really poor. The family, we were poor. You know, I didn't really realize it at the time. I mean, I knew that sometimes the lights weren't on when we got home, and We didn't have a lot of food at the time, but my mother was such a phenomenal cook, so I didn't really realize that we were going without as much as we were.
Right.
And my father was an alcoholic, but he would never drink around us. He was such a wonderful, loving father. And it's an addiction, it's a disease, and he couldn't conquer it. But the one thing he did for us was he never drank around us. So when he didn't come home, we knew he's not coming home. But we never knew for how long. We never knew how long this binge would last. We never knew, when he was coming home. So it caused me to have a life of uncertainty, just lived a life of uncertainty, like, when's this going to end? And the one thing that was constant, though, in my life was my mother's smile. Wow. She was such a strong woman, and like I said, we all were uncertain about our day-to-day life because of his alcoholism. But we knew that we could look at my mother, and that smile gave us such a sense of peace and comfort that it was because of her smile I wanted to name the foundation When Georgia Smiled, because I wanted to give the victims of domestic violence and sexual assault that same sense of peace, that same sense of strength, and that same sense of comfort that my mother's smile gave to me. I picked domestic violence and sexual assault not because my mother was a victim. She was not. My father adored my mother. And but it was because of her smile. And I picked that focus, domestic violence, sexual assault, because I have sat in every show of the Dr. Phil Show. We recently celebrated 3,000 shows.
Wow.
And it's that topic, it's those shows that have moved me the most. I will sit there in the audience and I will have such, like right now, my body is just, I have chills because it's those stories. All of them move me, of course.
Yeah.
You can't help but have compassion for anyone who is struggling. But when Philip and his team focus on those topics, domestic violence, sexual assault, you can't help but be moved.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to create my foundation, I decided I would focus on those topics.
Now, you came from a loving family.
I did.
But I believe your mom died young, at an early age?
She did. Way too young, as far as I'm concerned. She was only 58 years old, and I think that's so young.
It is.
I was on the telephone with her, and we had just moved into a really old home we planned to refurbish, and she had helped me get moved in. It was raining, and we probably unloaded until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but she left about 2 o'clock and said, I'll come back over tomorrow and help you, and is there anything you want me to bring? She was a phenomenal cook, and I said, bring me a pumpkin pie. It was my favorite, and she said, okay. She called and said, updated and said, the pie is cooling on the oven. She said, is Phil there? And I said, no, he just ran to the grocery store. And she said, I said, why? She, I just wanted to ask him something. She said, I feel funny. I said, what do you mean by funny? And she was already gone before I even finished asking that question. She had died of a massive heart attack.
So sorry.
Undiagnosed heart disease, actually.
Way too young.
Way too young. Way too
But
young.
you learned a lot from her, obviously.
I sure
and,
did.
She did a wonderful job.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Now, I know you love the word revelation because your skincare line,
Yes.
Revelation, first of all, I love the products. I believe
you.
you have 14 products.
Very proud. I'm always adding.
You're always
to the
adding.
line, yes.
And I love the eye cream. I do. I use it.
I love Dr. Ive.
So thanks for helping my wrinkles.
Thank you.
Why do you love that word revelation?
Well, going back to my mother, it was that day. Philip and I raced over to, I hung up when she didn't answer the question. I thought we'd been disconnected.
Okay.
It's an old house, like I said, it had been raining, and I just hung up the phone thinking she'd call back, and the phone rang again. Philip had just walked in. I said, oh, that's my mother, I'm sure. And I had taken a few steps, but he picks up the phone. I could hear my father screaming. And Philip says, ambulance and whatever, and we raced over to their home, and Philip tried to do CPR. We ran back to the bedroom, and she was still on the bed, and I race out and call my brother and sister, whatever, and he walked out to me and said, she's gone. And I'll never forget, say, what? He said, I couldn't save her. She didn't make it. And I said, she can't be gone. She's never been sick a day in her life. She's never even been to the doctor. And it was at that moment when I said that I had a
You
revelation.
had a revelation. Wow.
She'd never been to the doctor because she never put herself first. She always put us children, there were 5 of us, and my father first. And she went to the bottom of the list. She had never been to the doctor because she didn't take care of herself. She
Too
took
many
care of all
women
of
do
us.
that.
That's
Too
right.
many women do that.
So I had a revelation.
Yeah.
That very moment, I thought, I will not perpetuate her legacy of self-neglect. Everything else about her, I wanted to be just like her.
Right.
And that's why I said in the beginning, I am the woman I am today because of my mother. But that was the one thing she taught me, take care of myself so I can take care of those I love.
That's right.
I will not neglect myself. I will take care of myself. And I will be here with my family and everyone I love for as long as I can.
Good girl.
So that's why I named it Revelation.
Love it. Love the story.
Thank you.
Let's talk relationships with your husband, Dr. Phil.
Yes. Philip, as I call
Philip.
him.
43 years of marriage.
Uh-huh.
From what I can tell, the two of you have a wonderful relationship.
Thank you.
But as you know, many rumors that you guys are calling it quits.
I know.
Are the rumors true?
Let's see. Today they're not. No.
Today they're not.
They're not true. They've never been true. And actually, it has become almost, not really a joke, but we still, we laugh about it because they just keep saying it and we just keep staying married, happily
Right.
married. So
How do rumors get started?
it's ridiculous.
By the jealous people.
You know what? I really don't think they're started by jealous people. I think they're started by greedy people. The tabloids know they're going to make a fortune
Yeah.
by printing that on the headline of their rag magazines.
Exactly.
And so they put it up there, and everyone races over and grabs it and pays for it because they think, well, what is it this time? Because we are still married. We're still happily married. We never have even spoken the word divorce. But every time there are those people that think, well, maybe this time it's true.
Right.
So they just keep printing it. They keep selling it. Those people keep buying them.
It's not happening,
It's
people.
not happening. We will never get a divorce. We just will never do
Good.
it for so many reasons.
So help me out. I'm married 7 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. What are the keys to a successful marriage, and can you share some of your negotiation tips?
Oh, well, that was going to be my first. My first tip is to negotiate. But yes, you know, Philip and I have been together, like you said, we've been married 43 years, but we've been together almost 47. Well, really, actually, yes, 47 now. And part of the process of preparing for our marriage is that we had lots of conversations, and we told each other the things that we needed them, each other. I needed him to know about me and what I could tolerate and what I could not tolerate. And one of them, for example, for me was, I can't marry a man who is an alcoholic. I can't live with someone who drinks too much or drinks. And Philip, quite honestly, on our first date, I actually even asked him, do you drink alcohol in excess? And can you imagine how worried I must have been and how not fun I was on that first date? But I did ask him that. And his father actually was an alcoholic as well. So it wasn't that odd, I guess, for him at the time. And he said, you know what, I think I'm allergic to alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? But that's what he said. And I was like, I think I love you already.
Let's get married.
I do believe in love at first sight. But so it's those kind of questions and those kind of details you have to share with your partner. And I was very honest with him. I said, I can't live with an alcoholic. And I had actually made the decision when I was as young as probably 12 or 13 that I knew I would never, ever marry a man who was an alcoholic. And I certainly knew I would never raise my children in a home with an alcoholic. So those were 2 life decisions I made at a very young age, and I felt it necessary to even ask him about that and tell him about that on our first date.
Yeah.
Because I really knew that this man was someone I was falling in love with on that first date. So we had very serious conversations about what we can and cannot accept in a relationship. And then they weren't all that heavy. The conversations, not all of them were really heavy, but we just really got to know what it is. Like, he told me the buttons I could push, essentially. He didn't say it right out, but I knew the buttons I could push to upset him. I choose not to do that. Like I just choose not to do that. He told me the buttons I could push to make him happy. I choose to do that. So it's just that kind of information. You find out what is going to work, what's going to make us happy.
Before you get married.
Before.
Too many people do it after
Yes,
they're married.
Exactly. And we continue to this day to have those kind of conversations because people change.
Absolutely.
Relationships change. We're not perfect. We don't have the perfect marriage. We continue to work on it and have those conversations. They're just happy conversations.
Communication is key.
Yes. Yes. We don't take each other for granted.
That's wonderful. Now, I have to tell you, you are stunning, more stunning in person.
Sweet, thank you.
You're always well-dressed, well-polished.
Oh, thank you.
I use the word favorite a lot because I always like to know people's favorites.
Yeah.
Some of your favorite designers.
Oh. Well, of course, they've changed over the years. I have to say, I really love fashion. I
can
really,
tell,
really
yes.
love fashion. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we did grow up poor, and I had 3 older sisters, and I wore a lot of hand-me-downs, and my mother made everything we wore. She was a phenomenal seamstress, but I can remember getting my first job, and I spent everything on clothing. So today, I'm going to say my favorite designers are Alexander McQueen,
Okay.
Dior, and my go-to is Reformation. My go-to store, Reformation. I love that store. I love their designs. They're not as expensive at all, and they just, it's hard when you're short and petite to find things that you don't have to spend a fortune on having altered, and Reformation fits every time. So those are my 3 top favorites.
Okay, great. And you love interior design, I heard.
I do.
And I could tell
look
by your
around.
office. I mean, incredible.
Thank you.
That's a gift. That's a talent.
I got that from my mother. My
Your mother was an amazing woman.
She really was.
Aw, that's so
she really
nice.
was.
Aw.
She, like I said, she could sew anything. She could look at a picture and sew it and make it. And so I did. I got that eye from her.
That's wonderful.
Thank you for saying that, because I really do love design and decorating.
What's next for Robin? What's on the horizon?
Well, I'm really having a lot of fun right now. I love being a grandmother. Philip and I are really enjoying our time now with our children are raised. We have our grandchildren. I'm loving the podcast. I love the foundation. But I'm always thinking of something. We're always together thinking of something. So I can't tell you that anything is in the works right now, but I'm open to so many things. But nothing really specific right now.
And you stay so young. I mean, you are young, but you stay.
I feel
how
young.
do
You know, age does not, the number doesn't bother me. It never has. I'm sure it never will. I just turned 66 in December, and
Amazing.
I really, you have to stay young at heart.
Yes.
And so, thank you for saying that. But yeah, if you can't have fun, then what good is it?
You're right.
So I really have this attitude of life is fun, it's exciting, and it's all what you make it.
That's right. That's right. Well, I have to tell you, you are such an empowering woman.
Oh,
Between your podcast, your foundation, your skincare line, everything you do. I mean, your marriage, really, you empower women every day, and I just want to thank you for that. And we are so honored to have you on the cover of Power Magazine, our spring 2020 issue. With that being said, what does the word power mean to you?
Power means that you hold the ability to change someone else's life in any way you choose. Power is a gift. It is a privilege. Small, medium, huge, big. Whenever you have the opportunity to take what power you have and can change someone else's life, always, always do it.
Thank you, Robin McGraw. Such a pleasure.
I could cry
Beautiful
right now. You're
inside
amazing.
and out.
What an honor.
Thank
you.
Thank you.